lower bracket elimination match between these two teams. Hubert and Academy, they get to pick the first map, and it's Lotus, but not going to go their way. And Envy, a strong start, 13-10. Roy, from the get-go in this series, Hubert Academy, they switched up the comp a little bit. They got a good run for the first few rounds, but after a timeout from Envy, things got a lot closer.
Yeah, they most definitely had us going in the first part of that first half. They were playing incredibly well. Everything lined up for them. The early breach allowed them to just kind of snowball everything. But it did feel like after that timeout, something in Envy clicked. They just realized that they're not able to clash with the breach like the way they wanted to. They definitely changed up their game plan. They adjusted their pace, and it seemed to start clicking for them.
And just in time, too, because this Hubert Academy squad, Dan, there's a reason that you predicted that they're a strong one. But as soon as we got to see this Envy kind of, okay, this is how we counteract, showing that they got the strats as well. They can counter back. It was really, really nice. But still, a series that had me, at least, on the edge of my seat the entire time.
And at the end, it seems like it came down to the little details for a few of these rounds to make sure that it went the way of Envy. I mean, I'm thinking of that pistol that we just saw, where Exter gets to, it was a 2v4, Exter gets 2 kills, perfect timing, makes things even, wins the second pistol, and that allows them to snowball a little bit more because they win the 4 first rounds of the second half. And then you see towards the end, when it seems like there's a chance that Hubert Academy is going to make a comeback, there is the 3K from Poppin with the judge that changes everything. That I think that was a 3v5 as well. So once again, changes the numbers advantage, making it go their way, and doing little things like this that allow this set of rankers, this set of Envy to close it out.
And I think the very, very interesting thing with this first map as well with these two teams is that Envy didn't really have any players that were having outstanding performances. It really did feel a lot more of a team effort for Envy to close out this first map. Yeah, of course, there are some players that did have big moments here and there, but overall, they really did feel like they had a very good game plan. They knew exactly how to play around the breach structure and how to minimize the breach tail value. And overall, it felt like they came in knowing exactly how this map was going to go down, and they executed it extremely well.
And even first kills going in the way of Hubert Academy, Envy, really good job on being able to get their 2s. I mean, Dan, you had called out the Poppin, the 3K with that judge, and then we also got to see Exter with a really big step up in a couple of these pivotal moments. But going back to talking about the player performances across the board, when we had highlighted for Envy that we're looking at a big step up from Kanzera, what can we do? Looking at like the double duelist, we got to see probably one of the most even games across the board for them.
Yeah, it was definitely a back and forth between the two. I feel like towards the mid round, that's when Hubert Academy gets a little confusing. There was at least one round that I remember, but I think 2 rounds where we saw Nismo kind of they were playing a 4-1. Nismo was the only one towards that C side. He gets a pick, and he just stays there, and that's when he gets punished. Things get even out, and that is something that Envy was doing constantly. Every time there's a numbers disadvantage for them, they're gonna look for you. They're gonna take you down, and it seems like Nismo was just there faking, but everybody had already gotten that info towards that A side. So there's little things like that towards the mid round that I'm just kind of questioning Hubert Academy. But regardless of that, I think it was a good map for them. It's just definitely not the way that they thought it was gonna go down with the 4 rounds in the second half.
And big shout outs to Ion, MVP for Envy from that match. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about Nismo and actually bring up Poppin as well. Because Poppin is someone that normally, Roy, we more highlight when we're talking about the IGLing and the calling and anything else. And sometimes gets to, you know, sit back and watch the duelist go frag and just chill, right? But really showcasing in this match when things were dire, being able to really step up in his own right as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he not only popped off mechanically and statistically, but he also had so much impact with his utility, specifically with the Han, specifically with the tethers on the A control. Like, there's so much of Poppin's impact in this map that were completely valuable. And whenever the stat black holes, aka Kanzera and Ion, aren't really having outstanding performances, or the performances that we sort of expect from them, it really does open up a lot of room for players like Poppin, players like Exter to sort of just sweep in and have their moments and have their impact. And I think in this match specifically, we saw a lot of it more from Poppin.
Again, just that 3K with the judge where I know I blinked and it's just like, wait a second, like this kill feed is just getting absolutely lit up for right now. It was big moments like that. And if this is the performance we're going to get to see from him, I think that regardless of how well Nismo or anyone else from Hubert Academy can play, this is going to be a little tough in the series, especially looking forward at our next map. Because again, this very first map in the series, this one was Hubert Academy's pick, Dan. Now we're going to be headed to Haven, and this one is starting to look a little bit more dire for the Hubert Academy fans out there.
And I'm wondering if once again we're going to be seeing a change in composition coming through for Cubit Academy. We just saw that they opted out of the Neon on that map of Lotus, which is one of the most common maps where we see the Neon recently, especially in Challengers. We get to see it a lot. But in Haven, they're actually playing it too. So I'm wondering if this is also going to be a switch up from them, or things are going to remain the same. Obviously, on the other side, you're going to have that Fnatic composition. By Envy, things in that sense should remain the same.
And I think the really interesting thing is that meta, the Fnatic meta, it just fits so well for Envy, specifically with how the roles are. And it's a big part of the reason to why they're 4-0 on the map. I really can't help but feel like Envy completely won this veto, at least the first 2 maps, right? We're going into a Lotus that looks very, very good for Envy. Now we're going into one of the maps that they're completely undefeated on, playing it the most amount of times, 4 times, winning every single time, almost convincingly as well. And their last performance on that map was also not the greatest, but it showed a little bit more holes, but ultimately they were able to close it out. And it really does feel like the map fits their playstyle, it fits their tempo. And I'm a little concerned here for the Cubit fans.
Yeah, you're talking about, okay, maybe last time we saw Envy on Haven, there's a couple of holes, but I'm still looking at the momentum and the bounce back that they had over on that first map of Lotus, and to continue that on through, especially to talking a little bit more about the comp and talking about how well this fits their play style. Like, this is just kind of a map and a composition that's just built for them. And if we're looking at an Inspire that was kind of suppressed in that first map, well, we get to see the run back of the Cypher. When we're getting to see a Poppin that's already doing so well, like this, like looking at all the supporting cast here, Roy, and not even just the duelists. Like, this is everyone performing like in their ideal agents. Wow, we're just so hard, guys. But
English hard language.
It's so hard, but they're all on ideal roles. This should be really strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to, okay, obviously Inspire's a big talking point, right? His setups have been so annoying to deal with. It did feel like Hubert dealt with it a little bit better this time around. But overall, ultimately, his defense setups and the amount of pressure and confidence this team has in him to just hold things down solo, control information flow, kind of take things into his own hand on his own part of the map is outstanding. But I do want to draw a little bit more attention to Exter, a player that played phenomenally well strategically on this first map. He was able to abuse the Yoru TPs. He was all over the place, constantly messing with the reactions, messing with the timings, forcing Hubert to make so many decisions, and then boom, teleport. He's right there to deal with that. So now we're going into a map where it is a very Yoru dominant map. You can opt from sewers, and suddenly next thing you know, oh, he's on C, opting there as well. So a lot of the timings get really messed up when you're going up against the Yoru on this map. And I feel like Exter is kind of heating up, setting himself up for what could be a great map for him.
Especially the way that Envy like to play, right? Just playing it very, very fast and in a map that just fits, like you said, Roy, their style so well, and the way that they've been wanting to play, the way that they've been getting these wins. But on the other side, there has to be a change in composition coming through, because this Neon, it has not worked out. It did not work out last time when Winthrop, I mean, this is what we saw last week, but right? Winthrop against Cubit Academy, it was at 13-11 going this out of Winthrop. And yeah, we see the change from the first time that they played this, where it was Redux on the Jet, to then going to the Neon, to now, I mean, potentially going back to the Jet. I'm not really sure. It just seems like Neon is not going to be the answer for what Rankers wants to do. They want you to play into their pace, and that's why they lost last time around too. You're playing into exactly what Rankers want you to do.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the duelist thing is going to be a little awkward for them. They're definitely going to have to figure that out. But on a positive note for Cubit, I think the Sentinel that they've chosen, the Vice, pairs extremely well into the style that Envy likes to play. They like to play very fast, flat on their defense. They like to just interrupt you before you get established in the pulse plant, a style that works very well against the Breach. But when you're going up against the Vice, there's so many thorns that you're going to have to deal with. And if they're using their lineups correctly, or if they're timing their util correctly, it's going to be incredibly awkward for Envy to flood onto these sites and sort of get their impact and secure their win condition, something that they've done almost in every one of their Haven matches. So it'll be really interesting to see that dynamic specifically as well.
I definitely think I'm on the side of, we're going to see another composition switch, even if just slightly coming out from Cubit Academy. But do want to call back to like their recent results on this. It was a very close match against Winthrop University. So you know, it's not like they're getting completely blown out of the water here. So it's, I think, just a little bit of tweaks. But the agent select's ready, so we don't have to speculate too much about what Qbert Academy can do, as yet again, this is fighting to stay alive here in the lower bracket, an attempt to take us to a game number 3. And if we're going, okay, we're getting not just tweaks, Dan, we're going to swapperoo the entire thing.
We're going for the basic, the classic composition here, and even for the side of Qbert Academy. We talked about Redux on the Jet, but I think in general, we were seeing T-Dog on the Tejo as well. So they're just going full standard for this one.
All right, Roy, I mean, this is something we've seen from them before, looking way back in the Swiss stage, but it was also something that didn't really work out, which is where we saw the changes. So I'm intrigued about the going back to this.
Yeah, I think they're definitely leaning on comfort at this point. I do feel like the Jet pairs a little weirdly, and the Cypher pairs a little weirdly into Envy's composition, but as long as they have an idea of how to minimize that value, how to deal with the ISO late peaks with the shield up, and where to position the op for Redux on the defense side, they should be all right. But I am heavily in favor for Envy here and going to the second map.
All right, it's a Haven, not for Envy. Their map pick, and one map away from staying alive here and keeping on this lower bracket run. Will Qbert Academy going back to comfort take this win? We'll have to see. Our casters are ready. The map is ready. So let's head back over to Wyatt and Shift.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I really like the conversation point that Roy brings up, kind of off the assumption of what we thought that we were going to get from Qbert Academy and how things like the Vice Tejo can play into what Envy likes to run. But instead, not feeling comfortable after their loss to Winthrop has them going all the way back to the middle of January to February to play this composition, which is when they last had it out. So what are your kind of thoughts on this, Wyatt? Kind of seeing Qbert try something relatively fresh going into Envy's map pick where we know they're so strong.
Yeah, I think they needed to switch something up, and the easiest swap to make is to play the standard default comp. Probably feels pretty bad for them, considering I think a lot of their big util executes and retakes looked so well drilled, but that just hasn't been enough for them on this map. They something needed to change, and it desperately needs to change now. I mean, Envy, I like this pick coming in from them, despite only having, you know, I think only a handful of actual runs on this map. They beat Blue Otter the other day. It's just a good anti. Like, I agree with Roy. They won the map pick then. They're in prime position to take this series 2-0.
Definitely feels that way. I think in particular, the offensive side for Envy has looked really strong versus Blue Otter. Ooh, T-Dog standing tall right in the face of all of this Envy utility. He comes away with one. And actually, to be honest with you, Qbert are going to hold on to the site here, at least the backside of the site. Still trying to get themselves a bit further forward are Envy, but Knights is on a good angle, setting up the crossfire, teleporting to the backside of the site is Zion, not able to get anything going, and Poppin has to leave. So, yeah, really strong hold here from Qbert to start off with the pistol.
That's just an excellent flood back in, playing together. Nismo providing that supplementary utility for everyone in the flood to actually get in position, take some of those good duels, and T-Dog gets the first. A great way to start. We did see, even despite the loss on Lotus, when Qbert were on defense, they were good in those flood retaking positions.
Well, the plant will still come third for Poppin. See if he can find any eliminations to go with it. Well, he hears all that pitter-patter. Elephants on parade coming through B-Link. First right click misses. The left click will at least connect for one, but pretty comfortable, all things told, for Qbert. Again, I just love their ability to get that quick rotation out from garage and in towards the site and not just try to play retake, but try to contest. I like that.
Qbert are having some serious deliberation as to who's going to be getting the defuse. They were waiting there for a second, but they want to try and get that Rolling Thunder as early as possible. And Nismo, well, that's his first sword, so it's going to be a while, but all good. You got to start somewhere, brick by brick.
Okay. Clean there for Qbert. Has them opting into an Outlaw Guardian and 3 Bulldogs. Stinger's still going to get purchased here for Kane Zaren, just trying to see if he can use that as a chance to get a rundown, maybe collect a weapon, make this more doable for Envy. Not outside of the realm of possibility or expectation. If you've seen it once, you've seen it a million times.
Yeah, they love to run that round 2 Stinger and a prayer play.
Nearly working out. Aftershock across. Shock dart there as well. Trying to flood this, but Zero does take down one. Decoy all the way in. Whoa. Redux through the smoke in with the connected. How about the follow-up? Just spamming it down. You can try to push forward. You can try to take our weapons, but we're right here. We're not going to let you do that.
Yeah, I love that from T-Dog. The second that Stinger was down on the ground, aware that they're going to try to recover it, and he just takes the fight right to them as the enemy side tried to get out of the dark cover. Overall, can't be too mad at that. Pretty clean. You only lose one weapon, but of course it puts Envy in an awkward position. One of their players with a bad buy, though. Is the Ares a bad buy for Poppin?
I'm about to say
the lone Ares player on the entire globe. Poppin might be the top one Ares user.
I mean, based on what we saw from last map, I'd be willing to put that wager in.
It might be a competition of him versus no one else, but he's still winning.
Yep. Winning's winning. Fault line making its way right across through sewer. Redux right there with it. Flash pops come through, just the information and the backup. Extra does get tagged off that, but gains the ability to play through sewer. T-Dog wants to step up a little bit with the Spectre. He's still got good support nearby with Nismo behind him on connector. Redux playing just over the stack of the boxes. And Envy are going to kind of back up and really take their time on this.
Yeah, they've left Inspire inserted over at A long, so
Time to jump.
they want to be able to pivot back to him and go for an A execute later in the round. Just leave that open as an option while they work elsewhere. And drone garage and draw some of these rotates.
Well, Knights is sitting there saying, I'm good, guys. Go ahead and keep the stack up over towards A. This might work out for them, but Ion is watching on the angle through sewer, finds the elimination onto T-Dog. Redux still in the same position, but unlikely to be able to connect, especially with those stray Guardian shots coming through. Keep in mind, you have the opportunity, if you look to the minimap, on this long wrap from Zera, but it may need to not be a long wrap. It needs to be a quick wrap because this hit from the front is being stifled once again.
Yeah, things have gotten really disconnected for Envy now in the mid-round. They're trying to rush the spike over to B, 2 versus 4. And Redux is hitting some snappy shots with that Guardian. Had no business getting a couple of those kills, but it's just so lethal with the aim.
2v4 situation, post-plant will be split. Kane making sure no one wraps over through C-Link. Ion will just back up, allow this dark cover to try to give some separation to Kane, but he's been affected by the fault line, and he will be, so it should be dealt with. Not yet. Double tap's gonna get reset, finds that. Can't snap the link, get the shield back again, but it doesn't make a difference! Whoa, Kane, Zera! And around that looked completely unwinnable 2v4. How about the 3-piece from Kane?
That is just otherworldly. This guy is so different. In the regular season, he was by far the statistical leader in the entire league. No one was even within touching distance of the numbers that he was putting up. He started a little bit slow that first series, the first loss that this Envy team has had since debuting. He was struggling, but man, he is bouncing back. He has had some fantastic multi-kills so far today.
Well, Extra will walk down with this wall just a touch. Redux over the dark cover, just the pixel peaks, just barely not quite there. So no contact. We stay 5v5. Kill contract trying to come through. No one home, though. So now you're going to try to get a walk down through C long, but Inspire is fine with it. Redux is also still sniping over the top of mid, and that will shut down the lurk. So now it's just down to how far forward does Envy get on to try to take this site? Oh, wow. Knights just spamming, finds a little elimination, and Envy will have to play a 3v5 post plan.
Got one coming up the flank as well, T-Dog. C long, but Envy want to fight forward.
Have to. This is not an option to back off. And they run right into the winning arms of most of this Cubert defense. Ion in the corner. Yep, no problems for Redux. Not at all. Yeah, absolutely pivotal. I mean, because initially, with Redux trying to take that upward angle with the op, you think, okay, he's going to be good for first blood here behind this wall, but never able to actually see Extra, but instead the track back over to mid works out for first blood, shuts down the lurk, and Cubert just suffocates C.
Shuts down the lurk is a phrase that we've been using a lot so far in this series. Inspire has to adjust the way that he's playing, because more than anything, I think that Kubert have found success with, it's been exploiting him. They've been able to kill him on both maps in mid-lurk positions far too frequently. He's got to wait for a better timing in some of these situations. Kubert are just so aware of his maneuvers at this point.
Yeah.
All right, Envy thrown back onto the eco. They've got one stinger, as always, this time with Eggster, though.
Yeah, Hunter's Fury are at the ready. Orb can be clutch for the defense as well. But the rundown, I mean rundown, C Long, has got him into sight. They're going to get a post-plant setup here. Now, again, this is just, again, Stinger, double Sheriffs. Not exactly what you'd call formidable weaponry, but Inspire is making his way around this play. If Eggster and company can hang on, kill some time, maybe there's a chance. Aldrun to clear out Garage. Knives are out for the retake for Redux. Hunter's Fury going to get called through. That shuts down Nismo. And he's able to find Knights? What? Popping for 2. Now this lurk is going to be here from Inspire, and Kubert have already committed to sitting there and saying, we're going to save Inspire. Would have loved to have a couple of those shots back, but doesn't make a difference. Envy's going to get the round.
I think that was just a beautiful combination. Kane Zera getting the suppress and the vulnerable onto all those players stacked up in spawn into the Hunter's Fury. What a round to win. What a util combo to just flip that on its head.
Unreal. And again, it's popping. Just, that might be all we need to say. After map number 1, late into the second half, he comes away with a couple of the big doubles. This time, it's a Hunter's Fury. He gets perfect timing, perfect positioning off of it for 2 eliminations. That's remarkable. Literally remarkable.
Yeah, he really has been finding some high impact kills with consistency. Really stepping it up.
Well, trying to channel some of that magic is T-Dog. Not going to connect through C Long. This one across the map, diagonally not going to hit or really stop this play onto B. Quick plant on the way. Paranoia can be cut on both sides, but Kubert not quite able to force this issue yet. Kane Zera, oh my goodness, he's got the hot hand. And let him cook. Popping backside of the site. Looking decent. Kane for 3. Eggster able to find the final. And now all of a sudden, the momentum in this map has completely switched over to the favor of Envy.
I do really like that proactivity from Envy, realizing that they could get into that B site with some speed, get the spike down while that Hunter's Fury was going off, while there was more presence being shown on the map towards C. And then it's just Kane Zera. He simply walks onto the angle, and Redux just can't find the shot. He just couldn't get the trade. And if you can't get the trade fast enough against one of these Envy players, you're so cooked. They're not going to miss. All of your mistakes against this Envy team will be punished by virtue of them not missing and swinging into you. Like, you have to be so coordinated and in all situations against them, and your fundamentals have to be so on point.
Oh yeah.
You're going to get punished because they're not going to miss.
Well, this is going to be a really compelling 7th round. I know it's early days still for map number 2, but in an elim round where you're already down 0-1, Kubert are going to kind of, I won't say limp into this. They're going to have full weaponry, but a lot of light armor. So you're looking at Redux, who's going for that operator pick. Knives have already been spent and not really able to find much besides just the one pick after the round is already unwinnable. So is there going to be any sort of intention here with, especially off this tech pause, where Redux, Nismo, and T-Dog are stacked? Can they get Nismo enough clearance through A-Long to get him the orb, get him a Rolling Thunder, and really throw a mix into how Envy have to approach this next round?
Yeah, just try and get Redux posted up on that A main angle, hold it down so they can have the Rolling Thunder, play for one of those situations that they've excelled at, like a Flood. That's where they've been really good, and the Rolling Thunder is an exceptionally strong tool in those situations. So
yeah,
that's what Kubert are hoping to have. They would love a little situation like that to come up here with their economy on the line.
Oh, there's the play. Orb just going to be freely collected behind the recon bolt, but no patience here for Envy. Speeding their way forward, trying to show force over towards B. Can they bait this Rolling Thunder out? Are they even going to need to? Are they just going to go straight for the plant? Sure are. Rolling Thunder's still going to come through, though. It affects everything inside the site. There's still support here, though. Popping from the front is only held by a dark cover, but the spam shots from Nismo are able to find one elimination and still pull everything back. The spike has been its way out, though, and now they're over towards C, where they can join Scuba, who's gotten deep. See if there's an opportunity for him to stay alive. Knight's still trying to get into the site. And honestly, for Envy, this is not comfortable, not at all, as Knights is playing top logs for 3, and the neural theft will confirm that Egg is completely out of this play.
Cuber doing a beautiful job of controlling backside C there. Just playing around Knight's setup. He has the trips on either side of default with the cages, and then Scuba teleporting in to get that forward position. That was really excellent to lock down the site. Just kept all of Envy clumped together.
30 seconds
And then when the
left.
cages drop, they just swing onto them together. Scuba and Knights over on logs. That was very well played.
Yeah. And just like that, now you start to swing the conversation back over to the direction of Cubert. Now, granted, both teams have been able to establish some pretty healthy bank accounts, so we haven't
10
had a
seconds
save or even a half-buy round in a while. But the Rolling Thunder gets queued out, and Nismo able to follow up with 2 eliminations afterwards to at least get some of that charge back. Maybe a world where he can get this thing back in a critical moment before the halftime comes into play. But on the other side, Envy now the ones you really look towards to see if they can swing this back their direction with a handful of ults at the ready. And yeah, this Rolling Thunder, I initially thought they were going to try to just bait it out, especially if you're already hearing that orb getting picked up. But no, they commit for it. They find a couple of connections and makes life that much easier trying to defend C.
All right, heading into this round, the only... Well, actually, there are a couple potential ults on the table. Both Kane and Eggstar just one away from either of those duelist ultimates. Redux trying to find an angle with that AWP. Actually, Scuba took a ton of damage over at C. That was just random spam through the dark cover, and he is in a tough spot now.
You see Eggstar's trying to find the right time to pop the dimensional drift. Scuba's just going to tuck himself into a corner. Going 1-for-1 here would be fine considering his health pool. Aldrone going to scout this out, though. Has to bag up. Flash on the way in. Paranoia. No, double tap in the way. Also, the reveal happens over towards Knights on the left side of the site. So now Cubert, whoa, I was going to say, should have a pretty tough question here about how do we get back into sight, but that little push out from Kane's there makes life a little bit easier. The dark cover starts to fade. Dimensional drift in play for Eggstar, so he's not really in this play right now. Can he give the information to Pop and to come up clutch again? Oh, only able to find one. T-Duck, Nismo, Redux, the 3 still left alive. Eggstar is out of sight, and he may be out of mind at the moment with just about half HP, but now all of a sudden, back in the picture. Inspired through window gonna work out. Leaves it just down to Nismo. 1v1 at range. Toggles, holds. Oh, and the shoulders come through, but not enough to stop the spam through the wall. Nismo's gonna find 3 and save the round for Cubert.
What a spray down from Nismo, who low-key has been really on point today mechanically. His aim is looking so sharp. We were on the precipice of another BS Envy round win after throwing lives away. That was so disjointed from Kane and Eggstar trying to fight over in that A-side connector. They, when they were playing in that dark cover, Eggstar had a flash queued up, but Kane Zero swung through before the flash, and then Eggstar couldn't do anything on his own and just had a dimensional drift. But they could have just synced that up and maybe have gotten a couple kills there, easily won out the round, but the little mistakes add up. Cooper take advantage of them. And now they've got Envy in a position where their economy is now on the line. I mean, we've been going back and forth saying that. It's just so neck and neck between these two teams.
Just to kind of point it out again, you know, we're talking about Envy/Rankers and the individual presence that Inspire puts on the map. Again, another offensive half where he's just not been allowed to lurk. He's been caught a couple of different times in 1v1s that he's not been able to win. You talked about Nismo being real sharp today. He was the one that was on guard duty back in Lotus and was very successful in that 1v1 kind of off the play to make sure Inspire doesn't get around the back. And I don't know if this is kind of forced Inspire to take longer routes, because if you go back to a couple of rounds ago, he's like going all the way around through A, up and back to the defender spawn. Like it's just taking the longest of routes to avoid these contacts. And it just hasn't been a part of the win condition so far for Envy. Still up, but if you could find a way to get Inspire heated up, that would be huge, I think, if you're an Envy fan.
Yeah, you're right. That's the adjustment that he's been trying to make. He knows something has to change. He can't keep playing at that same pace he has been, trying to catch the same timings that typically do bring him a lot of success. It's just not happening against this very well-prepared Qbert Academy team. But as we have seen in the past, when you're going up against Envy, you can prepare as much as you want, but when you're actually in the server with them, they are still going to pull off so many crazy rounds to get in the lead, close out games, that all that good work feels like it can be for nothing. That was, I think, really the case on Lotus, to be honest.
Well, this pause a little heftier than the one prior to it. Not sure what's been causing these players issues, but hopefully we'll be out of it soon. We can kind of get to the culmination of this first half. And again, these last 2 rounds, massive for Qbert. Not only to stay away from the eco break, but more importantly, you can keep the operator in play. And maybe even more beyond that, you're now starting to force some difficult decisions for Envy, depending on how this next round goes. Buy your send bundles. The ops team wants you to do that. But
I was waiting. I was anxiously awaiting what the producer was going to type. I saw typing. I was waiting.
Yep.
We got the message.
we got the break message. So this one seems to be pretty significant. So we're going to step away and get off the podcast time here. Let you guys chill, hang out a little bit. When we come back, we'll continue forward with round 9 of Haven here in map number 2 between Envy and Qbert. Be right back. back there, friends, family, all you Valorant lovers alike. We're back and just about ready to go here with round number 9 after the tech pause. Again, just kind of laying out the stakes and the state of the game. 5-3, of course, the tally. Qbert coming up clutch in a couple of these most recent rounds. Keep them fighting in their eco. And now you start to look to the back over to Envy's direction with things like the kill contract at ready. Possible Hunter's Fury coming up close. Can they find a way to respond and get this game back to within even margins? We're about to find out.
Kenzera is definitely going to be hoping to locate Redux with the AWP and get him in that kill contract if possible, but they just find Nismo and good enough.
Yeah, that's indeed the case. Look at Qbert just quickly trying to rotate back over as Kenzera wins the 1v1. Now over to T-Dog's direction, though. He steps into the dark cover and he finds 2. Oh my goodness. That is a hero moment again coming through for Qbert. And
So
he's still going to be able to get the plant down, but we're in a 3v3 made much easier thanks to T-Dog.
So insane that he gets that second one. Oh, Redux, another crucial miss with the AWP. That's the second time this has happened.
Contingency will block off his field of view for now. Scuba, this is all about his timing and his peek over towards Hell. Knights gets one, tries for the double chow, doesn't fully work out, but Knights drops into the site, able to find this now to a 1v1. Scuba taking on Poppin. Time becoming an issue. Poppin trying to play the clock. Scuba has to make the move, and Poppin's out of there. What a set, what a play, but Scuba finds the kill. Is it in time? Sure feels that way, and yep, definitely is. How about that? Trying to play off the clock, not going to be allowed to, and Qbert save another round.
That's crazy. They really had no valuable util to get back in there. They just time it up nicely. One player coming from long. But you have to give so much credit to T-Dog. He is the reason that they were even in this round in the post plant to begin with. Finding the second kill was so insane. What a moment from the IGL.
So now 6-3 the count, and we gave a lot of credit. We were talking about this map again in this particular stage. We haven't seen Envy play it a lot, but when they did, their offensive side what was potent for them. Now down 6-3, Hunter's Fury going to be called out, cutting across the backside of a lobby. Does connect onto one, but first one good for Ion. Follow up from Nismo, hanging out over towards the sewer ramp position for as long as humanly possible, and that's going to be at least long enough to get a lurk on the way. Teleport over for Scuba. And you get a chance to still have some heaven control from T-Dog up top.
And are Envy going to be aware that this flank is coming? No one is watching right now. They're so reliant on this trip.
Oh, but Ion, like the spidey senses tingling, snaps over, finds the shot. T-Dog up top, opens up with 1. 2v3 though. Knights is still stuck behind this cyber cage. Now he can make his move. Popping in the close corner. Ion on the initial cross, and no, not going to step over it. The follow-up good from Poppin and Envy. Finally, able to get a win back on the board. We go 6-4.
And what's crazy is that despite Qbert winning a few rounds in a row, their economy never got off the ground.
Correct,
They were all coming down to these clutch situations, so they're on a terrible bye now. And we could be headed to a dead even half 6-6, same way that Lotus started. I mean, it doesn't end up mattering too much because they win the round, but I wanted to point out there, again, there was a moment where things just aren't that tight for rankers. Like that swing from Eggster came before the paranoia went to short. And if he just waited a second, Nismo would have been fully blinded up. Like, Envy are still in this thing, but they got to tighten up some of these situations and they could be in the lead potentially. It's just the little things add up.
The way it be sometimes, Knight's going to toss in the deep spy cam to get a peek down towards C-Long off the barrier drop. Does see quite a bit, enough to get Redux with a Bucky into position on this close corner. Does Envy get caught slipping? No, not this time. Aldrone is out, forces Redux to get out of there. Follow-up flash is good, and that's enough for Extra to get first blood. Now it's the Nismo's direction, and yeah, Poppin checks his corners as well. 5v3.
Ion pushed up as well after teleporting, using that ult to get into Heaven, get all that space for the team. Super clean round here on the anti-eco.
Well, Scuba and T-Dog will see this round likely come to an anticlimactic finish. And like you already called, Wyatt, we're going to get a 6-5 tally. Hunter's Fury, Dimensional Drift at the ready for Envy. Rolling Thunder on the other side, the only notable ultimate that could possibly come through. Qbert will find one more. The economy is okay enough to try to force these weapons out of hand, I guess, if you want to, or maybe even just try to get a couple extra ultimate orbs here across. And that will work out. Iron will find the last two. So 6-5 is indeed what we go to. Just Kane0 to drop in. Now we get the pivotal round 12.
Yeah, Kane was the one player who finding those kills would have actually mattered a bit. Could have gotten closer to that ult, but is now 2 away. And he's got the Odin. Can he convince me? Can he change my mind on the only time this guy isn't coming up huge is when he has the Odin in his hands?
This is like attempt number 4, right, Wyatt?
I think it is attempt number 4, and I think right now his Odin KD is 1 for 3.
Including bringing it into a kill contract, including running with it, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
it's just everything.
He loves to hold down W with it. That's his thing. Never stand still.
Drift. That's going to clear out C. There's going to be a 5v5 post plant here.
Planted. Fake teleport. Time to jump.
All right, Eggs are going to be the only player playing in sight with the dimensional drift going out to long. Odin, ready to spam onto the spike. That's going to be the maneuver.
That's good information, though, from Scuba. Hunter's Fury as a way to try to counteract some of this from Poppin. And he's actually been able to keep Eggster safe thanks to that teleport back after the Rolling Thunder comes through. After trying to flush out the Cubby, fault line behind it. But this is why you want the Odin, or Duryu. Thunder's just going to spam it down through the dark cover. Not going to happen. It's Kubert winning every single gunfight. Now it's just down to Inspire. He's had a slow first half, but he may just come up quick, and he will. 4 for Inspire. Oh my goodness, he was 2 and 8. He's going to finish 6 and 8 with essentially a 1v4 clutch to get us to a 6-6 tie.
Yeah, he has been silent as the crypt so far in this game, and then comes up so huge, 1 versus 4 at the very end. That is so insane. Nismo, he didn't think that he was going to be long because he was so delayed on actually swinging out that Nismo turned around. Hubert did such a great job at fighting through that smoke, finding all the kills on the players spamming as well. What a way to get to the end of the half. 6-6, just like Lotus at the end of the first.
Yep.
Dead even.
Wow, what a time for Inspire to get that confidence boost as we're swap over to the defensive side now, where he again will be largely trusted to play the island at sea. Paranoia, quick cut over towards A lobby, seeing if Eggster can manifest something quick, but not going to happen. Instead, it's Hubert realizing, all right, no Paranoia, then likely someone with that. We're just going to try to flood over to Inspire's direction. He's got the one-way cyber cage, doesn't see anything through long. Flash comes out, but Inspire, good first headshot, allows Kane0 to step in for a small moment, but respects the boundaries as the defense needs to stack for the retake.
And they're fast to reclear garage. They want to get in.
Wow, the timing here is unfathomable. Now the reset to the double tap, and oh my goodness, Envy, I think he just caught all of us by surprise. Kubert, we're thinking we can get into the site, we can play a little bit deeper. Nope, not the case. Kane0 just tracks back, clears out garage, and said, let's send it.
Yeah, that pathing was really cool from Kane0. And one of the benefits also of having the shield, especially against pistols, you just feel so comfortable getting back in, taking that space, realizes the garage is totally open. We can just get through here right now while they're trying to plant the spike and fight from behind. And then you have Eggster playing forward out of spawn right here, coming in with the clone that gets triggered.
I need a drop.
That is the confidence of this Envy team on display.
Correct.
They are so fast to make decisions like that.
Cutting through.
So now a chance to build up the defensive coffers for Envy. Double Ares this time. If one wasn't good enough for you, Wyatt, how about 2?
And of course it's Kane. And again, listen, the gun's pretty good on this map. There are a lot of angles. I just don't need to see this man holding down W spraying, but we might just get it.
Very well made. The shots are decent. Headshot connects also on the D-Dog. That makes life easy for Ion on the follow-up.
Down B.
And that's enough to get the spike down, plus, of course, more information that the Kubert members are stuck on site. Yeah, really clean there. They will drop 2, but the Ares spam works out pretty nicely. And it's going to be both weapons picked up and taken into the bonus.
They get them both. And let's see what they try and buy up around this. Does Kubert Academy get into their full buy? This exact situation is playing out on Haven, as it did on Lotus. Second half, Envy win the pistol. Then they won that bonus round, so we'll see if Hubert can avoid that fate here on map 2. Must-win map, or they're getting knocked out of the lower bracket already.
Yes.
Which makes no sense. On paper, it just doesn't add up, but that is the world we live in.
It'd be enough to finish top 6. $1,250. Whoa.
Not nearly enough points for these guys. The coveted challengers points. Not as many as they'd like to get.
No.
Not as many as anyone in the community watching this league would think that they would get if this is where they finish. If that's where either of these teams finish, it's just insane that this is a lower bracket round 2 game. But this is the world we live in. Hubert, look ready to go for this full A-side execute.
Is there any ability for them to get a read on this before it happens? Paranoia, fault line cut across the site. There's absolutely nothing Poppins can do besides just spam and hope. Exter, wow, thought he had the elimination bottom side at hell. Not the case. The judge chunks, but not quite able to finish off the damage remaining. So now it's down to the post plant. 5v3. Is there enough for them to actually cut back through this? Ion does have a paranoia, but is going to try to clear out some space first. Does that allow him a chance to set something up to actually connect onto multiple members? There's the drop down. The timing not exactly great, though, as Kane Zero will drop. And Ion's paranoia really didn't affect too much of this post plant whatsoever. This will be a 7th round for Hubert.
At this point, Envy just going to see if they can deal any economic damage, but it's been a struggle to do any of that. One gun removed, ultimately going to be very irrelevant, though. Clean round from Hubert. Dismantle what was a really light hold from Envy. Just one paranoia gets the job done, to be honest. Poppin was just so cooked after he got blinded up, and Exter just with the judge. Hubert make light work of that round.
Okay, to the full gun round. And Hunter's Fury is already at the ready for T-Dog. Nothing else really in the ballpark. A couple that are 2 off, but largely speaking, this will be what will likely be a full execute right on into C. Oh yeah, fault line plus the Aldrone Inspire dancing, trying to dodge. Can't get to safety though. First blood talent and Hubert around C.
Wow, and Scuba just catches Kane Zero in transition, trying to rotate over. Perfect timing on that peak, and this round is just as good as done. Exter has a judge. I mean, his best bet here is to try and grab one of the rifles that were dropped, get the one over and spawn. And then just save. Simple, but really effective execute from Hubert, just getting that fault line in tandem with the Hunter's Fury. Taking out Inspire, trips down, free sight. 2 back-to-back, clean and easy rounds. Get them evened up on the scoreline.
Okay, so 2 purchases will need to be manifested here for Envy. But as you called, the Guardian will be picked up where the Hunter's Fury had priorly land. Or actually, that wasn't even the Hunter's Fury, that was on the cross through garage. So Hubert throwing some weight around the rink here on the offensive side. And again, if you're joining us through late, we were talking about how Envy, again, the one time they had played through here, their offensive side was really solid. And it took 9 on the offense, but this still was a map that went a little bit longer than you would have figured, because it ended up being only 4 defensive rounds and they had to avoid overtime after the 9-3 start. So talk about playing the same composition here if you're Envy. This had to have been the conversation point after playing this just last week against Blue Otter. See if they can find a way to get something going here, because at the moment, a lot of advantages to Hubert.
So Poppin's going to throw that rifle over to Kane, who's playing with the majority of the Envy team over on the A side. It looks like they want to refight this.
Bold choice, but see if it ends up becoming doable. Paranoia. No, that's just, whoa, pardon me? Not affected whatsoever. Ion still collects onto 1. Poppin's able to pick up the rifle, hold the ground, and we're going to get a 4v4. This is very doable. Especially if Ion can find another one. Are you kidding?
That's so insane, man. Just slow walk, re-clear, perfect reaction times. Instant kill. He's going for more.
Yeah,
okay,
he
all right,
checked.
guys, we gotta relax. Like, we got the advantage, man. Just chill.
I think that's one of those plays, though. If you confirm that there's still an A long with 40 seconds remaining on the clock, you know it's going to be either an A or a B head. If you see nobody there, the defense can start to lean over towards Inspire's direction at C. So
yeah, just really wants to get more
30
information.
seconds left.
Inspire on this timing out of garage, the one player without a rifle.
Oh, the timing. Oh, I'm sure he's thinking that should have been good for 2. Nismo still tagged up to the wall here, able to still connect.
Last player standing.
Double tap, alive and well for Kane Zera to the 1v1 with Scuba.
No distraction.
Kill contract, send him into the ring. Has a chance at it. There's the angle. Scuba, though, connects, finds the elimination, and Kubert will get to 9.
Even had the little jump peek with the shorty tech to try and break the shield. Just a cool little anti when you get sucked into the kill contract. What a kill for Scuba to find. Coming up so clutch. This was a situation where we were getting the rankers magic. They were getting kills out of nowhere, and then
Yeah.
we've just done a little bit too much. And yeah, you're right. I mean, you said Inspire's got to feel like he's deserved, owed the second kill in that situation, but just can't find it. Still, though, remember, that was an eco, so this is the full buy for Envy, or save round, rather.
That was as close as it gets for Redux on that play through A long. Operator does not connect, though. We make our way back over into focus here. Garage. Kane still going to try to hold his ground. Pushes back out through the dark cover. And this has just been a little bit of a toggle, a little bit of vying for positioning, but Ion is the one that's gotten deep. He's already over towards C. Gate crash. Going to be sent for Extra to rotate quickly if he needs to. And I'd say map position advantage right now to Envy.
Redux posted up so far forward. Cuber want to slow the game down, wait for someone to wade into that operator crosshair. Redux won't have the opportunity just yet.
Yeah, that stray op shot will get some information, but wow, Exeter caught sleeping a little bit on the backside of the site. I mean, he looked like he was looking down long. I mean, Ion's on that cross already. Fortunately, Ion and Kane
30
Zero are able to
seconds
keep
left.
the site safe. But now the pressure moves over to Inspire's direction. His traps and trips and everything else in between is starting to be dealt with. Teleport back up top. Aftershock will flush out some of that defense. And making his way on is Scuba. That's going to be enough likely for the plan. Ion's going to try to go on in immediately, though. Drops on in towards health in the cyber cage. Met by the operator Redux. 3v3 situation. Top of the hat scene. Snap back over. Wow, nice shots coming through. Oh, but Redux not able to find the elimination, so now it's just down to Scuba for a 1v2 of his own. Just 23 HP. Inspire out of the top rope. Trying to make his way up top, but not going to happen. Scuba's able to clutch up the 1v2, and Kubert get to double digits.
Another clutch from him in a crucial situation. The timings for Envy just a little bit off, trying to get back into the site. It looks like they couldn't decide between, are we trying to flood off the spike tap while they're planting, or are we waiting for the retake? And then only Ion goes in, he goes down to the op, then it's a 3v3, and Scuba collects all of them. This guy is so talented. I feel like I've been, and I know I have been saying for years, he's just one of the players that still, it's like, how is this guy never had a shot on a tier 1 team? I mean, he's just been a top Challengers player for years at this point. And that really is the, I know I said this last time we were casting Kubert, but this team is just the, how are these guys not in America's team? Redux has been amazing in Challengers forever. Nismo has been a top Challengers player forever. Scuba, I mean, these guys have just been so consistently strong.
Well, looking like we're going to have to fight this with limited purchase here if you're Envy off their timeout. 4 in a row since dropping the pistol and the anti-eco for Sentinel's Kubert. Rolling Thunder at the ready. They're going to get knives for sure. before this thing starts to get close to overtime conversations. And depending on what T-Dog's able to do with farming orbs, he may find himself close to 100 Fury as well. How about this little stack up over towards Garage, though?
Extra's going to try to find a timing before the drone connects onto him. Still able to hold his ground, but sprayed through the door.
Yeah, and Cubert also going to read that there were two members trying to play a crossfire set up at the front door at B. They're going to back down. Kane Zera still with the hero rifle. Cubert taking their time. Smoke in position over towards A lobby. This is a good spot for Poppin to at least hold for now. It allows this defense stack and Garage to hang here a little while longer, but the killing of the noise has created so much doubt, and now Envy need to go hunt and see what they can find.
Poppin threatening that push out of A, so Cubert have to be a bit weary of that, and you can see Knights is pulled back to spawn just to pick up that angle.
Up close and personal, not going to connect onto the Sheriff shot, so here comes the flood.
30 seconds.
Ion, still with the Bucky, up and over. Good help. Kane Zera's right there. This could still be formidable. I was going to say the last one here, though. That's the one that you need to find if you're Kane Zera trying to hang out in the back of the site. Not going to happen. And now it's just down to Poppin. 1v3 with the Sheriff. Maybe a chance to upgrade that as he makes his way through Garage. But I don't know if there's really much in this position. He's going to have to get over to logs if he wants to find a rifle, most likely, and there's just not going to be a route for him to do that.
He should be completely cooked at this point. That was so dangerous for but a moment, but Cubert able to stabilize in that situation, and they have not succumbed to the classic Envy Rankers rounds where they get a bunch of kills out of nowhere and win by virtue of that. You would have been able to win out these scrappy situations the last few rounds in a row. They're the ones coming up clutch.
And at this moment right here, you start to think maybe. But trying to get the Bucky in play, just a little bit too wide in the peak backside of the box. Kane Zera has to step up. Too much to deal with. So now it's essentially win or go map 3. Here in this round, it feels like for Envy, who are zeroed out completely with this purchase. Kane right up and close and personal with his trap wire. And I don't know if Extra saw both players through C long on that peak. Sees one for sure, misses a chance though. And now the op has to come through for Poppin. That gets pushed off. Aftershock forces the teleport. Poppin still desperate in nature, trying to find a connection. Rolling Thunder going to push him back deep over towards the backside of the site. Redux trying to find the elimination. Whoa! He's able to connect on to Angster, out of all people, in the middle of the dimensional drift of all things.
What the hell was that shot? Mid-ult? Just that is so insane.
Kane trying to get through this Hunter's Fury. Can he open the site up? Finds one in the back. Double tap back in play. Oh, able to at least get the reveal through in the moment of vulnerability, but doesn't really fully work out for anything beyond just the status effect. So now 2v3. Poppin still with the operator in play. Connects onto one, but the bodyguarding not going to be there as Knights will find his 3rd and 4th in the round, and Cubert are going to be on map point.
I still am just locked mentally on the first kill that happened. What the hell was that, man? Redux is full blind, just taps and headshots Exter mid getting into the dimensional drift, huh? It's so insane. It's so insane. The Knights really stepping up at the end there too, able to shut down Kane Zera before he's really able to get the ball rolling with the double taps coming back online.
Yeah. Kill contract in play. Knight's the one who gets caught pushing with the stinger because you have to. That will work. Maybe a little of that Envy magic starting to come through here. As now all of a sudden, what was a pretty poor buy, well, I was gonna say builds a little bit, but Nismo, wow, snaps across both sides of that grass to take down 2. Poppin responds to this Hunter's Fury to keep this a 3v3. The Cubert are gonna have a chance to play Knives and Outlaw out of Redux. And it's still Aries gameplay on the other side for Envy.
And at this point, Envy have no information. They do not know where Qbert could be going. They could be anywhere up in yard right now. They could be working into garage. They could be working A. They could be working short A, long A. I mean, they're almost inevitably going to be in a retake situation here. They know it. That is going to be the case. Really, the only thing maybe in their favor is the fact that T-Dog is on such low HP, and the Stinger could get an easy kill there. Poppin does have a recon to get back in at the very least.
He's got actually a full toolkit worth of utility to spend. Inspire, his first contact would likely be through sewer if it's anywhere. I'll drone out, forces the focus for Qbert to be towards the front. This is taking a long time though if you're Inspire. From the shadows gonna get popped. Reveal is so good with that recon, but Inspire now on the pinch able to find one. Here comes the retake from the front side. Redux is trying to play inside of the dark cover. Has knives to still fiddle with to the 1v1. It's Inspire versus Redux. Inspire trying to get this thing at least to halfway. May have to try to hold it the whole way through though, but Redux over the top. Redux, he gets baited! No way! Envy's gonna get the diffuser, they're gonna stay alive!
How does he get away with that? How does he get away with that? Redux just has to know the timing. He has to peek that at the very end, but he is convinced that Inspire doesn't have the dog in him to stick that, or I have no idea. That is pretty bizarre that he's able to get away with that. Envy are going to be on a bad buy again, all things considered, given that it's only Inspire who, I mean, he didn't even live, sorry. No one lives. They all had to buy, and we've got the Odin. Of course we have the Odin at this point.
Oh, Exeter trying to get cheeky, playing the teleport deep in towards A main, trying to catch Qbert off guard. Not going to happen. Any more heroics from Envy? Ion tries for something. Shock dart to push him off the angle. I mean, you did get a lot of damage tallied up. I mean, you got 3 members that are essentially a couple of bullets away from death, if not less than that, especially with an Odin on the floor.
Yeah, it's a little bit of silly Odin spray away from dying. I can see the future of Kane holding down W, mouse 1, and connecting onto T-Dog and Redux, just getting the dumbest of kills.
Oh, they're going to leave T-Dog over towards A as the spike will be planted on the C site. Here comes that spammability moment, but not able to lock down the shots. Lots of reveal, but Kane Zera just caught looking too many directions. So now it has to be something from this hit through garage. Redux holding with the outlaw. That'll work. And now the flank will likely secure this map for Qbert unless the play at garage does first. Everyone knows where he's at. The fault line cuts across. And Ion is not going to look low and left. And they're looking for the knife. They're looking for the knife. No mercy. But it's not going to come through. Knights finds the final kill. 13-9 as Qbert responds by taking away Envy's map selection, leaving Split as our map redecider.
And the comp switch from Qbert coming into this really paying dividends. That was a much better showing on Haven than they had previously when they were trying that Tejo comp. They just brought it back to basics, the good old default look, and it really worked perfectly. You know, it got the op more involved with the Redux. He was finding some value with that when they were over on defense. Nismo's continuing to play great on the breach. And then at the end of the game, though, it was all about Scuba. Back-to-back rounds with those clutches to not just keep them in it, but then get them over the top, get them in the lead, close it out. He really stepped up.
Massive things. I know it's often memed in the Valorant community, but it's massive. It's big. It's large. It's huge. Maybe even be ginormous. It's one of those. But we've got a map 3. Again, this is an elimination matchup. Loser's done. They have to wait till stage 2. Winner has still a chance to continue through this bracket, which doesn't look like it's going to get much easier with M80 and TSM still waiting behind us. Lots to come. We're heading to break, and then have the desk right after that. Don't go far.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know the exact reason. If I had to actually guess, it just comes down to the idea of not keeping Redux on a bench. So he gets to play in the league. He kind of gets to, not that he like runs the team or anything like that, but you know, he's like making content. He's still like, you know, definitely like a leadership role like on the team. But it just seems like a good opportunity for him, a win-win situation where he gets to play, keep getting better, you know, stay kind of like fit per se, like playing the game, and then 4 other people that he thinks are, you know, are on like a VCT level, maybe close to a VCT level. You know, we get to kind of like train, band together, and you know, who knows, come towards the end of the season, you know, we might go all of our separate ways to different teams. Maybe we'll join a team. You know, it's really like up in the air, but you know, shout out Sentinels to making it happen, because you know, without them, the tier 2 scene is, you know, in big trouble. And there's like a couple other orgs like, you know, Shopify, M80, you know, that are dope, that, you know, have teams and stuff like that. TSM, obviously, shout out TSM. But it's just good to see that people still care about, you know, players who aren't in the VCT scene, because, you know, without that, you're not going to be able to get, you know, any new people. It's just going to be a really random system. We're definitely looking to just like make our wins like cleaner. So, you know, where we had like a couple like close maps there, and it's mainly just through, you know, it might just be, you know, us making mistakes as individuals, maybe forgetting about like the